The night air was thick with the roar of engines and the smell of burning rubber. Outside the Rusted Barrel, a local biker bar tucked into the edge of a small town. A cluster of motorcycles gleamed under the dim orange streetlights. The night had started like any other weekend at the bar: loud music, cheap beer, and the kind of rough camaraderie only bikers and regulars could appreciate. But nobody inside could have predicted what was about to unfold. Amara Johnson walked in. Quietly, her presence calm but confident. At 29, she carried herself with a poise that turned heads. Not because she wanted attention, but because she exuded a rare combination of strength and self-assurance. She wore a simple black blouse, jeans, and boots clothing that allowed her to move freely yet didn't draw too much notice in a bar full of people accustomed to leather jackets, tattoos, and the smell of motor oil. Amara had just come from a long week of work. As a logistics coordinator for a federal contractor, her days were regimented, precise, and mentally exhausting. Friday nights were her escape, a rare chance to relax among strangers where no one knew her story or her past. She had chosen the Rusted Barrel because it was quiet compared to the bustling downtown bars, and the bartender, Rick, knew how to pour a drink without judgment. The bar was half full when she arrived. A group of bikers occupied a corner booth, laughing loudly, their conversations punctuated by slaps on the table and the occasional clink of empty bottles. Amara made her way to the bar, sliding onto a stool and nodding politely to Rick. "What'll it be?" Rick asked, already reaching for a glass. "Whiskey. Neat," she replied. As Rick poured, Amara's eyes scanned the room. That's when she noticed him, a biker, sitting alone at a table near the entrance. His leather vest adorned with patches she didn't recognize. He was the kind of man who seemed larger than life, with broad shoulders and a shaved head, but it was his eyes that caught her attention, cold, calculating, and almost predatory in their intensity. She didn't think much of it at first, dismissing it as casual observation. But as the night wore on, she couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching her. She took a sip of her whiskey and tried to focus on the music, letting the bass vibration from the speakers settle into her bones. Then it happened. The man abruptly stood, his boots scuffing against the wooden floor. Without warning, he reached toward Amara, his hands rough and large, and yanked at her blouse. In an instant, the fabric tore, leaving her shirt ripped across her chest. Gasps erupted across the bar. The room froze. Some patrons instinctively reached for their phones, others for their fists. The bikers in the corner exchanged tense glances. Amara, however, did not scream. She did not panic. Her eyes, sharp and unwavering, met the intruders. For a moment, silence reigned. Then she stepped back, and as the torn shirt fell slightly away from her shoulder, a large, intricate tattoo came into view, its design commanding attention even amidst the chaos of the bar. It was a Marine Corps emblem, beautifully detailed. An inked in bold black and crimson, stretching from her collarbone to her shoulder blade. The words Semper Fidelis curved above the eagle globe, an anchor dot. The man's jaw tightened. He had expected shock, fear, maybe submission. He hadn't. Expected the silent storm in front of him. Amara took a deep breath. Her voice, steady and calm, cut through the tension. "You don't know who you're messing with," she said. The room seemed to exhale collectively. The bikers, previously ready to intervene with fists, paused. The bartender, Rick, leaned closer, recognition dawning on his face. The Marine Corps tattoo was not just a design. It was a declaration, a warning, a testament to discipline, resilience, and combat experience. In that instant, everyone in the bar understood. This woman was not just another patron. She was someone who had been trained to handle situations far worse than a drunken aggressor in a biker bar. The man tried to regain control of the situation, puffing out his chest. "Hey, watch yourself," he growled, trying to mask the flicker of doubt in his eyes. Amara didn't flinch. "I already am," she said. Her tone was low, measured, and lethal in its calm. She didn't need to raise her voice. The air itself seemed to tense around her, charged with authority. The bar remained silent, every eye now on the unfolding standoff. some bikers began slowly approaching, not with malice, but with protective instinct. They understood respect in this world, and she had just earned theirs in a heartbeat. The man hesitated. His bravado faltered under her unwavering gaze, and the visible symbol of the Marines etched into her skin. For years, he had relied on intimidation and brute force. But this was different. This was a quiet, disciplined threat. It's the kind that could end him without a sound. Amara straightened her shoulders, stepping forward ever so slightly. "Try that again," she said, her voice now just above a whisper, but it resonated like a command. The man stumbled backward slightly, losing whatever confidence he had left. Around him, the other patrons began murmuring. Murmurs of admiration and astonishment for the woman who had not just survived a moment of aggression but turned it on its head. One of the bikers from the corner, a large man with a grizzled beard, leaned toward the aggressor. "You should leave," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Now." The man's eyes darted to the tattoo again, and he realized he was outmatched in more ways than one. "Ow!" Without another word, he pushed his chair back violently and stormed toward the exit, the door swinging shut behind him with a finality that echoed through the bar for a heartbeat. The room stayed silent. Then the tension broke. A smattering of applause erupted, growing louder as patrons expressed their admiration for Amara. Rick came around the bar, placing a fresh glass of whiskey in front of her. "You okay?" he asked, his voice a mixture of concern and awe. "I'm fine," Amara replied, finally allowing herself a small, almost imperceptible smile. She touched her tattoo lightly, as if drawing strength from it. "It's just another Friday night." From that moment on, the atmosphere of the bar had shifted. Patrons treated her with a mix of reverence and curiosity, and the bikers who had been skeptical of newcomers now regarded her with respect. The story of the woman who had confronted a thug, revealed a Marine Corps tattoo, and left the bar unshaken spread quickly, becoming the kind of tale that would be retold for years in hushed tones and with a sense of awe. Amara stayed for a while. Longer, finishing her drink and enjoying the music. She didn't seek attention, but she no longer avoided it either. Her past, her training, her experiences had shaped her into someone who commanded respect without demanding it. That night, in the heart of a small-town biker bar, she had reminded everyone that appearances could be deceiving and that true strength often came quietly, in the form of discipline, courage, and unwavering confidence. As she finally left the rusted barrel, the night air cool against her skin, Amara reflected on what had happened. It wasn't just about the man who had attacked her or the shock of her tattoo being revealed. It was about reclaiming her own space, asserting her identity, and showing the world that she was someone who could handle herself in any situation. And as the roar of motorcycles faded into the distance behind her, Amara knew that the night had changed something, not just for the bar or its patrons, but for her as well. She walked away with her head high, her Marine Corps tattoo visible beneath the fabric of her jacket, a silent symbol of resilience, honor, and the quiet, unshakable power of a woman who had served, endured, and emerged stronger than ever. The story of that night would echo long after, a reminder that true courage is not always loud or violent. It can be as simple as standing tall, revealing your truth, and letting the world know that you are not someone to be underestimated. And for those who were there, who witnessed the power of that tattoo, and the woman who bore it, one thing became undeniably clear. Amara Johnson was not just a patron of a bar that night. She was a force of nature, a living testament to the strength, courage, and unyielding spirit of the Marines she had proudly served.